And we're back once again with the Corel 386, or I guess the CSS Labs Cache 386 to be more exact. I just recently took the hard drive out, took the hard drive out, backed up the contents, and erased it. So we've now got that. Still haven't done much else with it. Really, it's just kind of sat around awaiting its turn in the limelight. But I'm finally going to give it something. I'm going to be reinstalling MS-DOS and Windows 3.1, and also not just, hopefully, installing the sound card, but also I have a network card that I'm going to be installing here. Let me cut that and come back. Here it is. It's a little Kingston card. KNE 2031 Plus. Looks like it's some clone of a Novell, because I recognize NE 2000 as being a Novell card. Don't know if it works. Don't really care. I'm going to put it in there and see what happens when the system starts. No EEPROM on this, so definitely no boot ROM. Don't really care about that either, because I don't really plan on network booting this thing. Really, I'm just putting it in there to get it out of my pile of cards, and maybe we'll experiment with it at a future time. But right now, I just want to get this in there and get this thing back up and running. Well, it's in there. If I turn on Night Shot, if you'd be able to see it any better. So it's now installed. So we'll see if the system happens to still work, or if it proceeds straight to the scene of the crash, or the fire, or both if I happen to be really lucky. But of course, first, I gotta get my keyboard back out here because I unplugged it. Or, well, I didn't unplug it, but I moved it out of the way so I could do some work. Alright, here we go. I saw the two lights come on, so it didn't explode. 386 modular BIOS. Copyright 1984 to 1990 award. We'll see what happens when the disk is blank. There's nothing to boot to. Press A key to reboot. So that's what I did. So we'll just end up in that loop. Alright, so let me get my DOS disk. See if I can insert it before it starts up. There we go. We'll get to see if this floppy drive actually works. It did when I brought it home, or before I brought it home. That sounds awesome. Well, it hasn't totally died yet. Configure unallocated disk space. Yes. System will reboot again. It does take a little longer to post with the network card installed, but that's not to be unexpected. Or isn't unexpected. I don't know about the health of that floppy drive, but it is working, or it seems to be working. So now it should format the disk. This may or may not take forever. Yeah, that will not be a fast process. I wonder if you can hear it. Reviewing and erasing all those secrets. This must be when I last used it. System time is actually 3:10:19, and it is 2300 exactly. Look at that. Wow. Those settings are correct. Install the CDOS, and now the install process will begin. I wouldn't say that floppy drive still sounds necessarily like it's the healthiest in the world, but If it transfers data, I don't really care. Alright, now we need disk 2. So pull out disk 1. We'll go ahead for disk 2. Let's see if it works. Okay. Remove all disks, it says, so that's what we'll do. And there we go. So now it should boot straight into DOS. We get high mem. And now, with any luck, all of the DOS versions will be set, the versions for the programs will be set correctly, so I can actually run programs without it complaining at me that it's the incorrect DOS version, even when it's not. Alright. So, next step. Let's install Windows. Assuming that my disk is still good, which it might actually not be. I don't remember if this disk is good or not. That's not a good sign. Yeah, that's not a good sign at all. Okay, well, forget Windows here for a minute. I'm going to go ahead and install from the supplemental disk. I assume you just have to run setup.bat. Install supplemental utilities, including blah blah, blah blah, and all of that. Set up in CDOS. Install everything. And the system locks up. Well, that's excellent. Okay, so the next step is going to be to install the SoundBlaster. Now, the last time I tried to install a SoundBlaster in a computer, with a vintage machine, well, we'll just say that that did not work. So let's see. We'll see if this one goes better. I think I've got the correct driver at least. So what do we want? We want install. Hope I have the correct driver. The SoundBlaster value, SoundBlaster 16 value, the CT4170. Okay. Oh, here we go. SoundBlaster 16. It says it's an SB wave effects, so I don't know. Okay, to read the README file, press F2. To install now, well, we're just going to install now, because I am running out of time. Alright, full installation recommended. Proceed using these settings. So, let's see if it'll actually manage to find the card. Or if the system will proceed straight into halt and catch fire mode. But without the fire. I wonder what the issue is. It must be trying to read something. Probably got something to do with plug and play. Give me just a minute. Well, I'd like to tell you I know what I'm doing. And most of the time I do. But, I'd be lying to you if I said that I didn't screw something up majorly with this whole ordeal. That is a plug-and-play card. That is a SoundBlaster, what is that? It's a Vibra16 PNP, or SoundBlaster value, and I've also heard it called the SoundBlaster 16 Wave Effects, and many different other things. It's a CT4170. There are no configurable jumpers on that card for things like address, IRQ, DMA channel, whatever. Which is all stuff that I think the SB16 does have all that. In fact, I've got an SB16 right here that I can... Well, that's not an SB16, is it? I've got one right here that I can use to check. No, that one doesn't have it either. I thought it did. Evidently, I don't know what I'm talking about there either. But anyway, it is a plug-and-play card. Well, this is not a plug-and-play system. It's a 386 with an award BIOS from 1990. It has no concept of plug-and-play whatsoever. So that leaves us a problem of trying to figure out how to install this. Well, there is a way, which I hope works. I guess we're going to find out together whether or not this actually does what it's supposed to do. It should have everything that I need. Assuming the disk is good. So I think the program I need is CTCM. Let's see if it'll run off the floppy. Alright. So there we go. It is actually working. So let's see if we can try install again. Now that it knows where the card is, let's see if it'll actually... Oops! That's working great. Oh, give me just a minute. Well, turns out that there was another issue. I had to disable himem.sys. Otherwise that wasn't going to work. So, now we're installing this. And I think what's going to end up happening is I'm going to have to figure something else out. By which, I mean I'm going to have to patch together an autoexec and a config.sys. That could be interesting. But it is working, which is good. Hasn't not found any files yet. So we'll let that go and I'll come back when it's done. Yeah, I'm going to have to patch this around again. And I'm also wondering if CTCM is not required for this. I guess we're going to find out. This could be interesting. So I'm going to hit enter to continue. I'm definitely going to have to modify that autoexec.bat later on. Hoping that it's not going to conflict with with autoexec.bat. If you do not want to set up the Windows applications and drivers now, press escape. Well, I don't have Windows loaded yet. You will have to run and install from your SB16 directory again. Well, I don't have Windows installed, so... Reboot for the modifications to take effect. Let's eject the floppy. Put it over with the rest of them. Push enter to, or actually F10 to reboot. Rebooting system, it says. Alright. Let's see what it does. I'm starting to wonder about this. See, the system explodes. Low-level driver error. Okay, well let me see if I can load the CTCM file first. Okay, I've patched them together. Let's see what kind of hell that created. I'm sure that's not going to work. That's going to make a mess. Might even make the system catch fire. Who knows? Oh, there's a disk still there. Let's take that disk out. Uh-oh, himem is loading. Okay, I'm gonna have to put that into config.sys first. Figure out how to load that on startup. Well, that's great. Apparently, there is an issue somewhere in the system, some kind of conflict somewhere. I can only open up the edit program once, otherwise it screws up in some hilarious way. But, once per boot. I did manage to figure all this mess out, and it seems to actually be working. Maybe. I'll have to see if loading all that junk in high memory area is going to still mess it up, or what's going to happen. I guess we're going to find out here in just a second. Okay, I've now gone ahead and put the cover on, as you can see there. I've got my Windows disk remade over here. So now that I've got the cover on, how much do you want to bet that it's not going to work? Oh, it hasn't totally died yet. Please ignore all of the ridiculous noises from the other room. I'm going to have to figure out a CMOS battery for this thing. Alright. Starting MS-DOS. So it hasn't totally died. Before I go ahead and install Windows, I'm going to go ahead and run the SoundBlaster diagnosis program and just demonstrate that for all of you. High DMA channel is 1. It's kind of funny to see that, but I've got it set up so that it's using the low DMA for the high DMA, because I don't know if it is possible to get the high DMA to work properly. So we'll go to the SB16 folder and run the diagnose program. You can go ahead and pause the video if you would like to read that, assuming you can. So, it's set to the default of 220. 330 for the MIDI, the MPU 401. Now for the IRQ and the DMA stuff. IRQ 5. Channel 1 for low DMA. Again, if you'd like to read that, you can pause the video. We'll just use the low DMA. Now we get to a point where we can actually test the card and its sound. So we're going to run the 8-bit digitized sound test first on both channels.
8-bit testing.
I think UXW Bill mentioned that that guy sounds very excited about 8-bit testing. We could test individual channels.
8-bit testing.
I wouldn't say that it's coming out of one channel.
8-bit testing.
You know, it sounds like it's coming out of both channels, but a little bit quieter.
8-bit testing.
So, here's one thing. Left and right probably isn't working quite correctly, but oh well.
16-bit testing.
It's probably actually a little bit loud for almost 1 o'clock in the morning, you know? Oh well. Don't have a choice. And then FM synthesized music. Alright, we'll stop that. And that's pretty much it. There isn't anything else you can really do with this diagnosis program. That's all. So we'll get out of it, and then insert this disc. Actually, I didn't really need to do that. Go over to A. We get a directory listing just so I make sure I know what I'm doing. And we should have a setup.exe in here somewhere. Oh, I don't see it. That's awesome. Well, let's just type setup and see what it does. Must be in there some. Oh yeah, there it is. I found it. So let's see if it hangs the whole machine. It hasn't yet. There we go. It's just not fast because, again, this is a 386. So we want. Let's see. I'm gonna go for a custom setup just so I make sure I know what I'm doing. Put it into C Windows. Oh, that didn't work. Give me a minute. Okay, well, it didn't crash this time. I don't know what happened the last time. Let's see if it still works past all of the setup points. I just realized I'm going to have to find a driver for this as well. For the video. Of course, I have the audio driver. That's not a problem, but video driver might be an issue. Okay, here comes the graphical portion. Now I wonder, does my mouse actually work? Oh, it works. Awesome. Okay, so let's go ahead and we'll put our information in. Hope it's not going to ask me for my key. Or for a key. I've got one. But I don't know where it is. Okay, so now the next step. Let me just let it make all the modifications for me. And I'll re-modify them after it's done. Because I am probably going to need to make a change with regards to hide them. Because it's been causing issues. And I think it's because I had it loaded in the wrong place. Alright, let's search the path. As opposed to searching all of C. Because I don't want any of the SoundBlaster junk to be in there. So we'll go ahead and we'll search the path. And then it's MS-DOS editor. We'll go ahead and we'll add all that stuff. Okay. So now we'll have applications and all that. Okay. I don't need to worry about the tutorial. Maybe we'll look at it in a future video. Let's go back to DOS. And we'll put these disks in their order. Edit autoexec.bat and make sure that nothing is going to be messed up here. It doesn't look like it. Well, it's going to load Smart Drive, which obviously that's not going to like that originally, but we'll go ahead and we'll push Alt-FX, and then we'll edit, assuming we can. It was working a second ago, where I could open up more than one. Here we go. It's added it to the top, so that looks okay to me. We'll see what happens if the system is still unhappy about having config.sys all the way up there, or if there are other issues, or if there are no issues at all, which would be the ideal situation. Nothing's exploded yet. So let's go ahead and try and load edit first. Load it once. See what happens when I try loading it again. This didn't work previously. Okay, now it's working. Alright, well, let's load Windows. Will Windows load? And not explode all over the place? There's Windows. It's coming up just fine. So we'll go over here. And we'll exit Windows and see if the system explodes. Oh, it doesn't. Okay. So now, oops. I needed to go in here. And let's see, Win Setup. This program requires Microsoft Windows. Okay, well, let's start Windows. And then we will load the driver from within Windows. Do it that way. So I think if I remember right, there was an issue with just doing it straight up. Just using the Windows driver. But I don't remember. This program will create... That's good enough by me. So we'll put all that in there. We'll push OK. Is that it? Is that all it needed? Let's go to WinAppl. What's in there? I think that's actually probably everything that I just added there, so... Now we're going to try and load the driver on the system. So we'll go over the program manager here. Oh, it won't be in there. It's in the control panel, so it's in main. So we'll minimize that, get it out of the way. Control panel, drivers. Add driver. Let's go for unlisted or updated. And we'll browse to C, SB16, WinDRV. Click on OK. And let's see what we got. Vibra16 SoundBlaster Super Sappy. Let's install this. Oops. DMA buffer allocation problem. Well, that's going to work real good, I bet. Watch what happens when Windows tries to load. Oh man, wow, alright, well, let's try something else then here. Well, this is interesting, even though the settings are exactly the same. I ran the diag program, saved the settings, and now rebooted the computer, of course. Watch it, I'll make a liar out of me. I have audio. Don't know, can't explain it, don't understand it. That's just kind of the way it is. I'm going to turn that down a little bit, so that way I don't serenade everybody out of the room. Let's go over to samples here. See if I can find a MIDI file to play for all of you. Oh, don't do that, please. Jazz.mid. Does MIDI actually work? Let's find out. Oops. I'm going to have to go into the MIDI mapper. There we go. After installing the Super Sappy driver, it is working. See if we can pick another one here. Sounds like that's the one that they use in the test program. Sounds kind of different under Windows, but I guess that's just because of the driver that's loaded. Hope none of these are going to get my video muted. Oops, that wasn't what I wanted. We'll go over here and we'll go to our favorite MIDI file on the planet. The only one that matters. Alright, so that's enough of that. I think that's pretty much it. I don't have anything else to share with you on the video, so I'm going to conclude the process at that. So, thank you for watching. If you happen to have any comments, definitely do feel free to leave them down below. And this is CP666 signing off. Hope to see you next time. In a future episode, we will look into setting up the network card under both MS-DOS and Microsoft Windows 3.1, not for workgroups. Till then, guys, enjoy your 386.